Welcome back to Super Sentai Review, episode number 30. Yes, the 30th episode of this one. Now, I'm discussing episodes 14 to 16. Sometimes, basically, like when I did Jack, occasionally I might not get a chance to do 5 episodes, I might only get a chance to do 2. This time I did 3. The first 2 is, believe it or not, focus episodes on France, the Battle of France character. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Now, the first one basically involves this Galactus monster who is looking for brides. Brides who are born on Leap Day. No, I'm not kidding about that. They apparently were born on Leap Day, so they had to be on Leap Day for some reason. And according to the general, it's like, oh, apparently Egos have done this before, which I'm like, where the heck did he hear this from? Did Diane's father mention it to him during their debriefing? Yeah, because this comes completely at random. By the way, unlike other monsters where we see their birth in these episodes, this is one of 2 in a row we do not see that particular thing at all. As a matter of fact, the birthing machine is there, but it's not even seen being used at all. Not in this episode or in the following one. So, and he just happened to find, just basically ran like, oh, wait, go back. Perfect. And Hella's like, hey, he found potential bride, like, okay, and she's already engaged. Okay, and of course she poses as her fiance, which, well, that's a reused plot thread. You know, using another character to pose as one character to pose as a different character. Yeah, didn't they just do this just like 7 episodes back? I think it was like back in episode 8. I'm like, really? We're using this plot device? Okay. Well, at least they're not, I don't know, we're using a prop from Jacques. Which I'll be getting back to, don't worry about. So apparently his weakness is that he can't stand onions, okay? So apparently France figures out that her name is Kikyo, by the way, where he finds out, oh yeah, he's an Egos monster right away. Though he's not the actual boyfriend, the actual boyfriend has been taken. And look like they're about to go through this ceremony, and look how France stops them and pretty much beats the crap out of the people, and eventually this guy is eventually defeated. And yeah. Kind of an interesting one, mind you. Yeah, really something related to Egos, and yet nobody's brought this up before. Not that I can think of, no. Next one, believe it or not, like, here's the thing. It's an episode where they use food as a plot device. And here is something. I don't think even Jock ever did this. They actually referenced a failed plot before, which, like, that's interesting. They've done that before. By the way, the episode's called Egos Hellish Cooking. And, like, first they're bringing this woman from overseas. It's supposedly an assassin from France named Catherine. And she's basically hired to kill Bad Fever J. And, like, she spreads around this particular food that's apparently is from France. Oh, by the way, the monster is called the Snail Monster. And it poses as the guy who makes the thing. Which I'm like, that's interesting. Usually, whenever they have monsters pose as like people, usually they're the center of attention. This is the first one where he's not the center of attention. It's the woman who's with him, who's not even part of Egos. And like everything is all humping over. And of course, you also have France once again be involved with the plot. Well, mainly because he stopped the boy from committing suicide by, get this, he was going to jump off a building, or at least fall off building, all because his fingernails changed color because he ate this special cuisine, which is later revealed that what caused the change in his hands, that actually came from not the food themselves. Oh no, it turns out according to the snail monster, it was the fork. The fork was poisoned. That's the reason why that's why with the X mark on his forehead, and of course the fingernails. And eventually looks like Catherine is on their side until she's basically turns against them and starts shooting the Cutmen. Yeah, she shoots like 5 of them. Like, wow. And like France is like quite surprised the fact she would take out 5 of them, like no problem at all. And eventually, of course, the Mountain was defeated, and they said that, oh yeah, the way out, basically the effects wear off in a day if you don't eat anything. I'm like, okay. And it looks like, though, Frances basically potentially found a love interest. Though I don't know if she appears ever again. This is really interesting bit when they first meet, like, oh, you speak French? Like, yep, I speak French. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, but this episode was actually pretty good. I thoroughly enjoyed episode 15. The only thing with this one is that there's a supporting character named Masiko. Yeah, this is actually her last appearance in the series. And she's appeared pretty much in almost every episode at this point since episode 1. The only episode she skipped was 5. Not really sure why she was dropped from the series. I've tried to find info about it. I don't really know. Maybe she quit or she basically let go. Who the heck knows? Excuse me. Next one is basically the villain for Super Sentai in a way. Yep. Where, like, we actually have France and Miss America. Oh, by the way, in the episode 14, we actually have Miss America doing something aside from hanging out in HQ or basically bandaging up like the members of Battle Fever. It's almost like she's a team medic, even though she doesn't do anything. In that episode, she actually did something. She actually planted a tracer in the woman's purse. This time, she kind of did something in the beginning, and then after that, it's like nothing. Like, after the opening scene where you have one of the people who knows France, like, okay, gets an invitation to this place called the Evil Club. They also have this plot to go this episode of popular fighters getting killed. Who was just before I continue here, the whole snail monster. Apparently, he was also operating in France. So, how long has this monster been active for? That's a really good question because he just randomly shows up. Yep. Yeah, but in the case of the monster, this is called Combat Master. Well, he's hand-to-hand master. And the guy who plays him, yes, the guy who plays him, actually shows up in the following Sentai. No, I'm not kidding about that. He seriously shows up in the following Sentai. The actor's name is Ken Omi. Yeah, he appears for this one episode, and then he was brought back in the very following season as a regular villain toward the end of it, from what I read. Yeah, he's not the only one. Oh no. The prize fighter who Battle of Japan is tasked with protecting in the episode, he also is a character who appears also in Dazaman, an actor by the name of Notia Ukida. Now, his sister, this is quite interesting, because they show up basically this fighting match between, like, when I saw it, I was like, wait, what is Karen doing here? And then they mention, oh yeah, this is not Karen, this is actually Black Snake Marie. Now, in the show, she is basically this other guy's sister. Half sister because they had different fathers. And I'm sure it's very common, so don't worry about that. So here's the thing about this woman here. Like, despite the fact she looks like Karen. The reason why, it's the same actress. Yeah, and as far as I can tell, this is kind of in a way her first return to the franchise. Yep, her very first return. Yeah, because after this, I think next time you see her is maybe whenever she shows up in, like, crossovers, but yeah, it was quite shocking to see her. The fact that she would show up here, of all things. So apparently by Battle Fever J, she was actually in her, like, apparently she was actually, about 18 when she showed up, at, like, 17 would show up in that series. When she appeared here, she was 19, and this was actually her last thing she was involved with because there's, like, nothing for her. Yep. Oh, and Black Snake is played by an actual wrestler. Yes, named Rimi Yukita. Yeah, I'm not familiar with her. She's probably a Joshi wrestler. Yeah, our character is supposedly killed off in the episode during it looked like a wrestling match, but nope, it's an ultimate death fighting match. So her brother's later challenged, and of course he agrees in exchange for seeing his sister. Of course, they easily grant that, no problem. Of course, the trainer, who actually is Battle of Japan, tells them if you accept this fight, you can't do anything with the World Boxing League ever again. Yep. So he agrees, and well, they later reveal that he was going to be killed, and his sister finds out he's going to be killed in the match. So she basically offers herself to be killed instead of him. Of course, she dies, and then eventually, of course, the Ranger, the Battle Fever, do take out the monster. Who, this is another monster that does not have like a monster costume. It's basically a guy in armor. And they call this one a monster. It's a guy in armor. Which, kind of a lazy idea for costume. But, love the look. It's a lot better than the other one. Basically look like normal clothes. Yeah. But here's the thing about this guy. No human form. Yeah, he doesn't change form at all. He basically, yeah, it is quite obvious the guy is an Agos monster. He never changes. Which is strange, because normally the series basically has with Agos monster, even the Cutmen, put on disguises. Here, they don't. Which is kind of weird. And also, we do see the birthing chamber used in this episode. After that been used the past couple, this one actually does get used. And then later on, of course, he's of course defeated by Battle Robo, and of course, well, Oz 15 is the debut of a couple of new things I forgot to mention. Well, 15 is the debut of a new thing for the Pantra attack, where it turns into a boomerang and then basically turns into a cannon. The other thing is that they stop using Cross Fever as the finisher. It's basically leading to a different finisher, involving using a katana to slice the monster in half and it explodes. Yep. And that's their finish they use versus pretty much the rest of the series. So, what was the point of using Cross Fever for the first 14 episodes and switch to a different one? I thought it was kind of weird. Yep. But yeah, that's it for this particular review. Stay tuned for tomorrow, which I'll definitely, hopefully, get you into more episodes tomorrow, okay? Next video. Bye.